What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Memphis, man. Make sure y'all click that like, click that subscribe button by you liking and comment. Keep my videos in rotation. Help me get my subscribers up. I'm trying to reach my goal to 1K. I can't do it without y'all. So if y'all can, man, hit the like, hit the comment section, man. Hit the subscribe button. Fuck with your boy. Man, today, man, we want to do a Chicago heist. I don't know, cause I'm just not watching it. I don't really know what it's about. So we're gonna watch that shit together. Let's get it.
On November the 15th, 2021, 800 members Lil Fats and Lil Twon attempted a GTA-style heist on an armored truck, something that has apparently become commonplace in Chicago over the recent years. These two allegedly carried out a robbery with two members from Newski Gang 079, Dewey 4, an alleged cousin of Fats, and another member called Spook. At 9 AM, Lil Fats and Lil Twon would meet up at a home in the 8700 block of South Saginaw to plan out the attack. They allegedly had said they had a lick lined up to hit an ATM, they would be getting a lot of cash. At 10:30, they grouped with the 079 members and travelled to the Bank of America on 250 West 83rd Street. Here, they would witness a Garda armoured truck arriving to the bank, with LaShonda Harts and two male colleagues emptying ATM containers and refilling them with around $50,000 to $80,000 cash. Police would later confirm that Antoine Davis, aka Lil Twon, would jump out, attempting to grab the container, ensuing a struggle. Montgomery Jennings, aka Lil Fats, and one of the 079 members would then exit their stolen vehicle and begin to shoot at the guards. LaShonda Harts would suffer 3 gunshot wounds, later dying of her injuries. And in a tragic turn of events, it would turn out that LaShonda Harts was actually new to this job, and she had clearly been excited to be starting this role, as messages to a friend from September 25th, 2021 were later released, where LaShonda explains just how much she was looking forward to working in her new job as an armored guard. Thanks to God for her blessings. Only 68 days after starting the job, the heist would take place. It was her work. The other victim was shot once in the stomach and taken into hospital, initially in critical condition, but thankfully survived. Police and prosecutors said that the robbery crew were actually unable to get the cash container from the guards during the attack, and they would flee the scene in a stolen Lincoln. Ultimately, they had failed the robbery in every way possible, and the bank surveillance cameras would catch the attack and what the men were wearing. Shortly after, a witness was parked behind an SUV when he saw the stolen Lincoln pull up alongside the SUV. Lil Fats and Lil Twon got out of the Lincoln and entered the SUV driving away. 30 minutes later, Lil Fats and Lil Twon were seen on another CCTV camera entering Strip Mall in the 6700 block of South Stony Island, just a 12-minute drive away from the bank. Here, they would rob the Boost mobile store, getting away with just a bag of mobile phones. Court documents would then show that Lil Fats and Lil Twon regrouped with the two 079 members at around 11:30 AM at the original location where they planned the attack on South Saginaw. One witness claims to have heard gunshots followed by an Infiniti SUV crashing into a tree. Lil Fats and Lil Twon would then run into a nearby home. Whilst inside the home, prosecutors said that a witness would see the pair and other individuals passing around a duffel bag containing a rifle as they talked about hiding their guns. Lil Fats would later tell one of the people inside the home to call the police and tell them that somebody had been shot and killed in a car outside the house. This was all because 800 members had actually turned on the 079 members, shooting them dead in the SUV outside. Dewey was even allegedly Fats' cousin and had plugged his music publicly on Instagram before, eerily calling his cousin Snake Man. Fats had taken it further, snaking his own cousin and killing him. Shortly after this, a SWAT team was called into the area, where very quickly the pair were then arrested and charged with murder, attempted murder, and armed robbery. Investigators would find the bag of mobile phones inside the crashed vehicle, and inside the home were 5 guns, clothing, shoes, and a mask, all matching witness descriptions of the robbers who stuck up the armored truck. The guns were also covered in gunpowder residue and matched the shell casings found at the scene of the robbery. This was a wild incident and would make the news once the To conclude, when it's all said and done, both Lil Fats and Lil Twon killed 3 people and seriously injured another guard, whilst likely traumatizing anybody that they bumped into along their rampage, all to achieve nothing. They left the bank empty-handed, and the phones they stole were left inside the crashed car. Both chose to crash out and will now likely spend the rest of their lives behind bars due to this failed robbery. But to make things even worse, they chose to turn on their accomplices for seemingly no reason. 2 men who they chose to bring along to the job, with this being made even more tragic when you consider the fact that Dewey 4 was just finding his feet in music and making serious waves as a drill rapper. His most popular song would even exceed 1 million views, being released after his death. And in the video, Dewey is memorialized in the most suitable Chicago drill style there is, as a cardboard cutout surrounded by masked men with pistols and extended magazines. By choosing to embark on that robbery, Lil Fats and Lil Twon essentially ruined the lives of everyone involved and murdered an innocent woman just doing her job. And if November the 15th wasn't bad enough, the fallout... Despite Despite being a villain in the streets and a hardened Chicago gangster, in the end Lil Fats would cooperate on the murder of LaShonda Harts, claiming that Spook was the man that killed her. Fats has been criticised by many due to him cooperating despite allegedly being a hardened killer and self-proclaimed snake. Even though Spook is now dead, Fats, who is considered one of the craziest known members, is cooperating with the police and violating the so-called street code. Lil Twon, his accomplice, has even labelled him a rat from his Instagram page. As have 800's ops from Twon World, labelling Fats as a snitch, a snake, and a killer all in one. Fats telling on Spook is likely an attempt at an alibi to dodge himself being held responsible for the murder charge of LaShonda Harts. However, the two murders of Dewey 4 and Spook, as well as the armed robberies themselves, are all backed up by a mountain of evidence. With all of this meaning, it's pretty unlikely that Fats can beat these charges, whether he's informing or not. 800 Lil Twon actually took to his Instagram story 2 weeks ago, strangely claiming that the feds dropped his case as there's not enough evidence. However, this is pretty hard to believe considering how much evidence was showcased just on that news report alone. Meanwhile, Big Mike from 800 chimed in, labelling both Lil Twon and Fats as rats, and claiming that both of them are no longer in the gang 800. Whilst awaiting his trial, 800 Lil Fats has had his fair share of altercations in jail, with one even being seen in prison guard body cam footage where Lil Fats is released into his cell, where he then jumps at his cellmate, attacking him, then elbowing another prison guard in the nose.
Relax. When I ain't applying pressure, relax.
Look, man, my best wrist, man, on my son, man, I can't feel it. I'm not resisting, man, on my son, I can't feel my hand is burning.
You got control of your wrist, we're escorting you. Like I said, you became combative, you struck one of my officers, I need you to relax. Alright?
Look, man, I just got one close, man.
We're all officers, sir, and we're taking the elevator, you're not even taking stairs, so relax.
You gotta say that, Mom.
So, taking it around one time, 455.
Sergeant Arousky, sign number 3307. Today's date's May 4th. It's 2:05 a.m. A detainee.
Yeah.
First name?
Yeah,
ID number?
202-111-L91.
So you attacked the guy in the cell?
Yeah.
Why?
Because we needed to it. That's why I took off running when they gave me out the unit.
Detainee was cleared medically by Nurse Lorenz. Detainee is awaiting new housing. This concludes interview with Detainee James.
It's been reported by popular Instagram page Squid8 that Lil Fats was beaten up in jail by one of the family members of the victims killed in the robbery. Lil Twon would also share that he was attacked by ops in the jail too, with Fats replying saying that he was paid $150 to say this, as well as other posts circulating appearing to claim that Fats was beaten up in jail himself. Unfortunately, it may be years before we find out what punishment, if any, will be dished out for this heinous heist turned murder spree. The only thing that is certain is that 3 lives were lost that day, and if the feds can prove it, Fats and Twon will likely spend the rest of their lives behind a prison door, leaving behind their families and their loved ones. It just goes to show you that, as usual, the streets are a dead end. Whether it's gangbanging or robbing, these kinds of activities can only lead to a grave or prison.